right, guys, how's it going? I'm just sitting in my car here, and I was thinking about a few things today, and I've been hearing a lot about in the news. Like we even talked about it a little bit in my econ class today. That drug, I think it was an AIDS drug, I believe is what it was, and how it went from essentially like what was it, $13.50 to $750, like overnight, and everybody's kind of saying that's not okay, that's not morally correct, that's not the right thing to do. And I totally agree with that. But the reason that he was able to do something like that is because really it comes down to a basic principle of economics, and that is supply and demand for one. But really what it is there's two types of demand. There's elastic demand and there's inelastic demand. And if I remember correctly, the drug is for AIDS, and so something that has an inelastic demand essentially means that no matter what the price is, the demand for that product, good or service or whatever it is gonna remain pretty much the same. And so that's what you see happening here is people are required to use this drug. They need to do it to sustain life and to stay healthy, and to not die essentially. And so he understood that, and no, I don't think it's morally correct for him to do that, okay? But the government's job is to step in when things like that are happening and to regulate the marketplace, and to do something like, for example, setting a price ceiling on that drug, saying that, okay, this, you can't charge more than $150 for this drug, or $200 for this drug, which I know is still a drastic increase, and it's a massive increase in the price of the drug. But by the government setting what's called a binding price ceiling, that doesn't allow him to come in and do something like that that's so over the top. Now, a lot of these drugs do have a lot of research going into them, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. And a lot of times these companies that are producing these drugs and manufacturing them, they'll actually lose money in the production process and in the research process, in hopes essentially that they can make money on the return, in the next few years of people having to use the drug. So anyways, I think maybe a portion of that increase is due to the fact that there needs to be money put back into the research and the development and all that kind of stuff. But I don't believe that it's as much as he increased the price of the drug. So once again, the solution to something like this is really it's in the government's hands. It's for the government to step in and set a binding price ceiling on the drug and say that, dude, you cannot charge this amount of money for the drug because it has an inelastic demand. These people need it, whether it's $13.50 or $750. Okay, and so that it's just not okay, And another thing that could potentially happen is that insurance companies say, hey, we're not going to pay that price, and that could really cause a lot of mayhem and make for a lot of bad things to happen, for people that are required to use that drug. So I don't agree with what he's doing. I do agree that it's okay to increase the price of something that has an inelastic demand. However, I don't believe that increasing it 5,000% is fair or morally correct or the right thing to do, no matter what you think or how much money you want to make. That is an example of greed, just a little bit out of control to me. So anyways, that's one thing. And another thing I want to talk about is this VW diesel emissions, fraud essentially is what it is, where they created this software to reduce the emissions when cars were going to be smogged and tested for emissions testing. But then once the emission testing was done, then the car would ramp up emissions and it would increase performance and all that kind of stuff, but it would be have a lot higher level of emissions. So again, that's a big thing in the news. A lot of people are probably irritated about it, and people that have VW diesels right now are probably thinking, well, shit, the value of my car literally just got cut in half overnight, or something like that. But an example of a hypothetical situation of a financial play that you could make off of this to make money actually out of the fact that something like that happened is you hear people talking about the stock market. Well, I don't care if it goes up, down, sideways, left, right, diagonal, whatever. I don't care what direction it goes as long as I know what direction it's going, okay? And so when you hear news like that, if you hear it really early on, you can be confident or have a feeling, not really be confident, but if you had a feeling that the price of the stock is going to go down because of a piece of news like that being released, then you could buy, put options on that stock. You could go buy the stock outright, but then you just lose your money because, you know, the value of the stock is going to decrease. So by buying put options, not only can you make money on the stock going down, but you also have way more leverage than you would if you were to just buy regular shares of stock, you know. And then on the upside, I think it's this Friday, they're going to be announcing their new CEO and introducing him into the company. And so hypothetical situation would be that the stock price may go up from something like that happening, you know. So first, you know, you bought your put options and you sold those off. You've already made X amount of dollars depending on how many contracts you bought. And then the next play would be to buy the call options, stating that you think the stock is going to go up. Again, the reason you don't want to buy the stock outright is because of the leverage that you have when you're using options contracts. So you can buy as many contracts as you want for your calls or your puts. And each contract is going to represent 100 shares of stock. So those are examples of how you could do some short-term plays to make some money. I'm not saying that they're guaranteed to work. I'm not saying that those things are going to happen, and I'm not saying really any of that. I'm just saying these are hypothetical situations and examples of when the stock going up or down allows you a chance and an opportunity to make money either way, you know. And again, the reason you want to buy options is because of the leverage, and you know, buying the shares of stock outright is good for more of like a long-term investing, you know, 3 to 5 years, even longer, 10, 15, 20, however long you want to invest in a company. But if you're trying to do short-term plays and, you know, make the money a little bit quicker and also have the leverage, it's riskier and it's less risky at the same time. You know, that's a whole nother thing I don't really want to get into at this point, but it's a way for you to do short-term plays and have the leverage without actually owning the shares of stock outright. And you know, yeah, so I mean, and the thing with the options contracts is that they expire, you know. So I mean, the value of it, there's so many different things that come into the value of an options contract, but once you understand how they work, you know, it's really an awesome way to have leverage and to make money on the stock going up, down, left, right, sideways, diagonal, or, you know, wherever it's headed. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of give some insight and give my opinion on what this guy is doing with the AIDS drug, you know. And he understands that the demand is inelastic and that people are going to pay the price whether or not it's $13.50 or $7.50. How long that's going to go on, I don't know. That sounds more of like a short-term play to me. And you know, I think at some point the government's going to step in, or if the government doesn't step in and set some sort of price ceiling on, you know, what he's doing, then I think that there's a couple things that can happen. Is insurance companies are going to say, hey, we're not going to pay for this. It's just downright outrageous, or they're going to start developing new drugs that can imitate what that drug, you know, used to do. And in some cases, those drugs turn out better, and in other cases, they turn out not as good. You know, so I think overall it's not a very good situation. However, I think there is solutions that can be implemented, and again, I think that's a short-term play for him to try to make some quick cash, you know. And then beyond that is the VW thing. It's just more of a hypothetical situation, and where you could make money on the stock going up or down, you know. And it's kind of like a quick explanation on how you could play something like that out, you know. So it's obviously more complicated than the way I'm making it sound, but that's kind of the general idea of how you could do something like that. So anyways, guys, let me know what you guys' thoughts are. You know, if you have anything to add to the video or anything like that, I'd love to hear it. So anyways, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys listening to my videos. This is less of a motivational and really more of just an informational kind of video. And I know I've been absent from the YouTube for at least 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. I've just been so busy getting back into school. You know, I'm going to school full time, working 30 hours a week, really trying to get my grades up, still hitting the gym, you know, trying to hit some new PRs or personal records in the gym. So I got a lot going for me, and I'm you know, staying really busy. So anyways, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. I wanted to bring out some more content. So again, thanks for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the week.
Tonight we're coming alive. And our hands will touch the sky. Tonight